Welcome back to another episode of Twisted Metal Companion. I'm Peter. You guys, we have another interview from season two. She was in two different episodes, episodes 1 and 11, respectively. And we have Morgan Douglas, who plays young Kelly. How you doing, Morgan?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, we've been in talks for some time, and we wanted to wait just in case we got a young Kelly to return here. But first off, what I've been asking everybody is, what has the reception like been from friends, family, and fans? Because you play like a pretty classic and iconic character to Raven storyline specifically. But what's that reception been like for you?
It's been amazing. Like my friends and family of course have been so supportive and just like shocked seeing myself on the screen. I think like also with the look of Kelly and stuff that goth look, they were all so excited to see myself look so different. So they've all been so supportive and it's been great. With the fans, it's been so like overwhelmingly like positive and just amazing. Like everyone's very excited to get into Kelly's backstory and Raven's backstory, so it's been really special.
Yeah, that little bit that I've seen of Kelly in the games, it looks like they really Liz Vestola really nailed the look, especially the color scheme.
Yeah.
So we'll get into all that stuff. Um, so you're born and raised like that region of Canada, Toronto, Ontario. That's kind of
Yeah. Yeah, I was raised kind of in like a smaller area outside of Toronto. I didn't really go to Toronto until I was like a teenager and like pursuing acting and stuff. So it was a big jump, but yeah, kind of in the country and stuff. That's where I'm at.
it's interesting. So I don't know. This is the first show where I've covered that has like a good mix of like American actors, Canadian actors. Um, what is there a perception on this show and how, let's just call it weird, right? For how different it is. The action, the perversion, all these things in this show. That I can't imagine that's like something too unique to something you guys may have up there.
Yeah, we were pretty surprised like having so many new like productions coming in right now. Like, I mean, with Canada, usually it was just for film, like Lifetime productions and like smaller things. So having such a big project come in and like all these like amazing big actors coming in, it's been really cool. And then getting to be a part of it was just like crazy too. So
Yeah,
yeah, it was such a huge like project from like what I've been used to.
sure. The explosions, the vehicles, the car chases. Yeah, I've been hearing some of those stories.
Yeah.
So, growing up for you, what do you remember of like a young Morgan? Did you always want to get into acting? Because I know that you did gymnastics and some dance
Oh my
early
gosh.
on as well.
How'd you get that info?
I do my
Yes,
research. Yeah.
yes. Well, I never really knew that acting was like an opportunity for me. Like I guess like growing up where I did, I didn't know that that was something that was achievable for where I was living. And it was very much like instilled into me like you're gonna go to college and get a degree in like sciences and stuff. But I always wanted to do something in the arts. I loved it. So dance growing up, that was my thing. I either wanted to be like a dance teacher or something to do with that. My parents thought I was going to be a writer for a little bit because I would write like books for them and then publish them. And like they had a little library. So yeah, I always thought I was going to be doing that. And then as I got older, I kind of realized that like acting was a thing that I could achieve and pursue. And then I just went for it. But it
Oh,
wasn't until I was 16 that I did it.
oh, okay. First off, those books, are they still available? Your published books?
No, I wish they were. Maybe they have them somewhere like hidden, but yeah,
Yeah.
I would like write them and like staple them together and yeah, they had a whole library of them.
Oh, that's awesome. It sounds like your parents are pretty supportive too, even though like early on they might have said like, university and writing and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So it sounds like they were, yeah, that's really awesome to hear. Um, Now, do so when you realized that like acting could be a thing, was there somebody that you admired, someone that inspired you, whether professionally or on screen?
Um, I mean, there's so many people that I was always so interested in. I loved Jennifer Aniston. My mom was a big fan of hers like growing up, and because I lived in the country, we only had like DVD and stuff. We didn't have Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
and so it was just kind of like what my mom had that I would watch.
It,
So I
uh,
loved her very much, and I always wanted to be like doing the things that she was doing. So I love that. And The Big Bang Theory. I watched that a ton and wanted to be Penny. So
okay.
yeah, I definitely those actors I look up to a lot.
Yeah, that's
So,
a show I watched too. My youngest daughter's name is Penny. So it's a cute name that like I was starting to discover. I was like, wow, these names have always been around in pop culture for me. Pee-wee's Playhouse had a character named Penny. Inspector Gadget, I believe his niece's name is Penny. So yeah. Jennifer, so did you watch Friends at all?
yeah, I did. I watched Friends. I watched a lot of her movies through like the early 2010s, like Just Go With It and that kind of world. So I know that movie basically by heart now
Yeah.
with how many times I've watched it. But yeah, I really that's kind of how I fell in love with it is just watching those actresses.
That's a pretty good film. I haven't seen that in a hot minute, but is that the one where in the beginning Adam Sandler's he's with like I forgot the actress's name, but she has like one eyebrow that's a little bit higher than the other,
Oh yeah,
and there's
yeah,
like this yeah
yeah, and
yeah
Nicole
there's this whole
Kidman's
bit.
in it and stuff. Yeah, there's some amazing actors in that film.
Oh, excuse me. Um, okay, so you decide to get into acting. What about the makeup work, like the special effects makeup?
Yeah, I that was something that I've always been interested in. I love horror movies and action and stuff like that, which is why it's so crazy to be able to work on Twisted Metal. But I have always liked doing special effects and I would just sit at home doing it on myself during COVID. And
Hmm.
I went to school for something else for 1 year and I was like, I cannot do this. Like, I'm good. And my parents were like, well, you have to go to school for something. So then we kind of settled on like going to school for special effects makeup. Because then I could still work in film while I'm not acting. And I love it. It's so amazing. And I love to do like the blood and gore and special effects and stuff.
No, is there a horror movie that it kind of inspired you, or a death scene of sorts that made you, get into that? Because that's something very specific, right? Like, I don't think you just decide I want to do special. You know what I mean? Like, I feel there's got to be something that kind of piqued your interest there.
I I mean, one of the things that really like caught my interest was the old Batman movies where
Mm.
like they were kind of introducing prosthetics and stuff into that. Like I remember seeing Penguin for the first time and seeing that like prosthetic on his face and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, I need to like see how he does that and stuff like that." But just so many like amazing makeup artists and different stuff. Like even like The Grinch and stuff with Jim Carrey, like seeing how they transform faces and stuff like that. It really like caught my interest. So yeah.
That's really awesome. I don't know who the department head is for the special effects makeup for season two. But for season one, I interviewed Stacey Perry, who was the department head for special effects makeup, and she was the first person I've ever. She's the only person I've ever spoken to like in that field, and like she teaches her own classes and stuff, and uh, that's where I learned with like certain um regions of for us in the US there's certain regions that are much more humid than others, and so she
Mhm.
designed like makeup that would work in that kind of like atmosphere and stuff. And so yeah, I didn't even think about like the science that goes into it too. So yeah, you probably do a lot of like experimenting with different things.
Yeah, yeah, there's definitely like with I mean with how hot the summers are now in Canada and then how cold the winters get, there's definitely some little cheats that we have to do like in terms of
Yeah.
making stuff stay because like it sometimes just doesn't. and it'll just move all around. So
Yeah,
yeah, there's some stuff you gotta get into.
I can see that being challenging. So what the dance that you were in a jump rope competition in high
Yes.
school too, right?
Yes, I did competitive jump rope. I kind of got into it through school, which is like kind of random, I guess. It's because I went to a school that was very small and stuff, and that was like the thing. Like everybody, we did this thing for Jump Rope for Heart, which is like I don't know if you guys have it in the US, but it's like a jump rope foundation to raise money for like heart disease. And
Hmm.
so we did that a lot growing up, and I got into jump rope then, and we kind of got into like doing acro and gymnastics into the ropes and stuff like that, like really intricate stuff. And then one of my friend's parents that was in the jump rope for heart thing, they like started this studio. And then so we just
Oh,
went there and started doing competitive, and we actually ended up winning nationals in 2019, which was crazy.
oh yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, that was a really cool time.
Yeah, that sounds really amazing. I remember before you were born, I'm sure. Bring It On, like that was like cheerleading, right? But that kind of opened up my eyes to like competitive like anything, right? Like, and so I'm just like, oh, cool, like because I never played sports and I was friends with like jocks and all of that stuff, so I knew it was like a thing, but I didn't realize like I was just never privy to that culture of competitiveness. So that's really cool. Like I I've never done anything like that. So anybody that does anything like different than me, I'm just like that's really awesome. I've never yeah, I just didn't know something like that existed. And so like speaking to people like you, it opens up my eyes and it expands my horizons a little bit. And so like you do still dance. So, like I've seen some of your videos, so you do visit. Is that just something you do for fun? Is that for like working out?
Um, it's kind of everything. I mean, I started dance when I was 2, and I got
Mm.
into very competitive dance for the like my entire childhood. Like it was every single night after school. I was going until like 9:30 at night. Like it was very like go go go. And so um I went out of it after like around COVID time just because it doesn't really work with that. But
Right.
I kind of just was like, oh, I miss this so much. And it was like whenever you do something like growing up that much, I kind of realized that it was like a part of me and I needed to continue doing that. And so I went to this place called the Underground in Toronto and started taking classes again. And part of it is also because like going back like into acting and stuff, dance can be a big part of some roles and stuff like that. So I wanted to work with that, but also just like having the passion of it and doing it for fun. And the workout doesn't hurt either. So,
Sure. It sounds like it's also kind of therapeutic, right? Like
yes.
yeah, you're there all day. It sounds like, get lost in the music and it sounds like you like to move as well. Like there's,
Yeah.
you hear about the movers and the shakers. They just dance constantly. That's one of my favorite things is to watch people like choreograph to music. And so that's constantly like on my, discovers, just like flipping through like
Yeah.
different dance. My daughter is trying to teach me something from like K-pop Demon Hunters. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
like, Daddy's a
Gotta get
little
on
old for
that.
that. Well, okay, well, we'll see, we'll see. I look. She was all like, "Daddy, it's like 6 seconds." I go, "That sounds like 6 seconds too long." The choreo. Yeah, that's a lot of movements for me.
That's funny.
Um, so Twisted Metal, how did this come across, your table, so to speak? Because with Kelly, there is a specific look, but speaking with like Hallie, like she has to match Patty Guggenheim, right? And so with you, what do you remember about this announcement or the casting call?
Well, I got the casting call from my agent and I had gotten an audition request. I was actually doing like overnight shooting to like another project at that
Mm.
time, so I was like no energy, completely drained, just like a zombie basically. And I saw it and I read the like the description of her and stuff and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, this is the coolest person I have ever like gotten to play." And so I did some research into the like Kelly herself, from the game and stuff. But it was funny because one of my friends that helped me with my audition, they like also auditioned for Kelly, and they have a
Hmm.
very different look from me.
Oh,
And so they were kind of doing it like open. And so I wasn't sure what was gonna happen with that, but I was like, okay, we're going 90s goth. We're gonna see what happens. But yeah, I had tons of ideas for Kelly herself in the audition and whatnot. I in the audition I was actually smoking. I was like jamming out to music, smoking, and just like having fun with it and sent it in and yeah, and then it just kind of like went from there. But yeah.
well, that's interesting. So what made you make that decision to include this the smoking into your audition? You're talking about the self-tape, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I after just like reading about her and just like the way that she speaks in the script and whatnot, like I was kind of like this girl would be smoking. Like they're going to a party, it's the 90s. She's a goth girl. I'll just have fun with it. And that was like I just kind of let myself go and was just like, you know what? We're just gonna have this was such a fun audition to do. And so I just like it was kind of a spur of the moment thing, and then I was apparently it worked, and then I was I wasn't sure if they were gonna have me smoking on set then after that, and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that I mean, just little touch that could have given you a bit of an advantage. Did you have a reference point at all for like you kind of kept on referencing like the 90s, like it's the 90s. Um, I'm assuming that well, I don't want to assume. In the script, did it say anything about it taking place in the late 90s?
Yes. Yes,
It did.
it was
Okay.
specific with it taking place in 1998. And so I kind of went back and I like to make playlists for my characters, like when I do them. So I made this full playlist and I already love that kind of music and stuff. And so I just kind of like shifted my playlist over and was like, this is Kelly's playlist. And I was just going through it and stuff. And I referenced a lot of the movies that I love from the 90s, like The Craft. That was a big reference. And then come to find out that that was a big reference for like costume design and everything for that like specific thing too.
Yeah, yeah. I just caught on to that recently too. There was like a behind the scenes with Patty and maybe Sailor Curda, and I think they were talking about like the prom dress, Raven's prom dress, and it was a bit of an influence from the Craft 1996. Yeah, all great movies. I'm thinking of like Cruel Intentions came out, like Clueless was 1995. So there was probably a few characters that you can probably draw some inspiration from. And so let me see. What were the lines on Kelly's audition? Like what was the scene that you had to do? Was it the same? Anything we saw on film?
Well, I think the writing changed quite a bit from the original like audition script, but it was the scene where we're in the car
Hmm.
about to go into the party. So originally I had like music blasting and sitting in the car smoking, getting ready to go in and stuff like that. So that was the scene that we did, and there was only one scene for the audition.
Okay. Yeah, and they probably changed it just to kind of keep like certain details out, but also like it's kind of a weird thing if you're starting off with like catching Destiny, and whatever the line was. And so they probably wanted to keep it like within the same tone, about you guys graduating and like why are we even doing this kind of thing. So you book the role and where do you go from there? How long do you have to wait? And also like arriving on set.
I think it was about a month from when I had like gotten the offer and stuff to start. It was end of June, I believe. So then we started shooting end of July. And yeah, I mean it was there was quite a few like fittings and stuff before, which was really cool. But we started like filming right around the time when the entire production started. Like the episode that I was in was right around the beginning. So not a whole lot had happened yet. Like I went to base camp and it was like very new still, which was a big contrast from like when I went back in episode 11 and everything had happened.
Sure.
But yeah, I went in for some fittings. I went in, got some hair stuff done and makeup tests and stuff like that. And I loved wardrobe fittings. Oh my gosh, so cool.
Was most of the tops just like red and black? Because again, I kind of mentioned at the top of the show that um, from what I saw of A. Kelly on the video games, she had a look. She had the dark black and or I'm sorry, dark red and black, and comparing it to what you wore, very similar. So was a lot of the wardrobe similar colors, just
Yeah.
different things? Yeah.
Yeah, it was very like they were all kind of like black and red or black and like that maroon kind of color that I ended up wearing. And then some accents of like fur and stuff. Originally we were gonna have fur around like a fur collar, like exactly in
Mhm.
the game, but I don't know if it was because of the like stunt being in there and stuff like that with the water, with the fur and just that kind of thing. But we ended up not like using it. But yeah, it was all kind of like the same color scheme, and each character had their own color scheme, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah. And now what about the voice of Kelly? I'm not picking up an accent when I'm speaking with you. Is that something that you do you have one that you try to hide? You know, like Canadian, I know like there's some of the certain words that you guys pronounce differently than we do. Uh and so yeah, so like any of those words, did you have any like challenges just trying to kind of hide the accent?
Yeah, I really tried to hide the Canadian like out and about like
Right, right,
accent.
right. The obvious
Because
ones. Yeah.
I definitely have that, but because it takes place in California, the we like I was kind of like, okay, we need Valley Girl type thing going on. So tried to go like more towards that, which is so different from my regular accent. But yeah, so there are like elements of that in it, but I just kept telling myself, I'm like, do not slip into the Canadian accent because it's so obvious and I can't hear it, but other people can.
Yeah. I know. I thought you did well. Yeah, even this morning when I was setting up, I had it playing in the background. I was just like, man, if you told me she was American, I believe you, you know. So yeah, you guys had it well. Like the ones that I've been speaking with that I'm finding out are Canadian, I'm like, oh, okay, well that's interesting. And then I would go back and check out their scenes. I'm like, yeah, you could fool me. But yeah, I was once told like I have a Pacific Northwestern accent, and I don't know what that is. Honestly, I thought I spoke with like spoke like most Americans really. Um, if anything, like some of the lingo, the vernacular is definitely West Coast. So yeah, there's definitely a East Coast, West Coast here in the U.S. And especially North and South for sure. I think the kind of the Northwest, the Midwest also, eh, maybe not Midwest so much, but the Northwest you have like parts that are closer to Canada that there's
Yeah,
some similar yeah
Minnesota is
pronunciations.
pretty similar.
Yeah. So you when did you run into Hallie and your guys' preparation for your scene?
Well, the first time I met Hallie, she was actually getting her hair dyed
Oh,
at that time, so it was like a pretty like crazy day. I was also getting like makeup tests and stuff like that, so it was a pretty brief like hello and stuff like that. I didn't get to really talk to her until the first day on set. Our trailers were right beside each other, so we saw each other a lot, and we're getting hair and makeup done at the same time, so. Um, we talked a lot for that and just prepared for the scenes and stuff. We actually found out that we like go to the same acting coach and stuff too. So there's a lot of connections through Toronto. It's pretty small. So we talked a lot about that and stuff, and then we just kind of like talked about our auditions and rehearsed some stuff and then started filming and yeah, went with it.
the car scene, you guys are you guys actually driving and it's like connected to something else, or is that something where they're projected something behind you to make it look like you guys are on the road?
So there was a stunt driver for the crashing parts, and a
Right.
stunt Kelly as well. So there was like a copy of us in the car. And then, for the part where the car is like rocking, there was like a few people on each side of the car that like rocked the car while we started the scene. But there was no like screen behind us. It was all shot on location. Um, so that was like pretty fun too. We were just in like an Oakville neighborhood.
Yeah. The your stunt double, is that Amy? or was
No,
there several? Okay.
I had Teresa.
Oh, true.
Um,
Okay, okay. I think I follow her too, because I believe one of the Sun Women, she's like doubles several people.
yeah,
So I'm
most of
trying to,
them do. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I was trying to figure out who's who in certain moments. Um, so yeah, let's see, Kelly, she goes into Destiny's room, and I've seen some like behind the scenes, kind of like a before and after with like all the paint and stuff like that. Did you get to be part of that at all, or was that all like,
No, I
oh,
did. I did not. Trying to think of like what I the paint was fresh whenever we went in and shot that scene. So I like went in and we did the blocking and stuff. And the room wasn't like defaced yet. And then I went
yeah,
out and they set up the shot and I went back in and I was like, "Oh wow, I did a number on this room and stuff." But
yeah. Uh,
yeah, it was
Probably because it's like very specific things that are going to be on the wall. So, they already have like,
yeah.
the people that were tasked to do that. But I was curious because I've spoken with people who were like, oh yeah, I got to like put blood all over the bed and just be a
Mhm.
part of that just for funsies. Um, so what was like shooting the party scene? Like I know Hallie has like the bit at the table, but again, I know Kelly doesn't have too much on the inside until she sneaks away. But yeah, just kind of what you remember from filming, and also I guess you actually got into the pool as well for
Yes.
some of the coverages. Yeah, just all of that. What 2 nights of filming? I'd imagine
Um, it
longer.
was well, the party scene and the pool were shot in the same
Mm.
like day. And then the part where I'm like going into the room by myself and all that, like and going onto the roof, that was a completely different day. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so the party scene we shot that was the first scene that we shot that day in total. And that was so much fun. Like it was the just the atmosphere and stuff. Like it was like it was just like a 90s like like music bumping and stuff. It was really cool. And there was this part that someone threw up and stuff like that. Like there was just it was very like exciting, lots of stuff happening. But yeah, seeing all of us together and like seeing how the scene came to be was really cool. Like just getting to see all the characters and stuff and the final forms of everyone. Um, but yeah, so that was the party scene. It was pretty cool to film. And then we went to, I guess the next thing that we did was the car, shot that, and then we went to the water and I
Okay.
was swimming. So
Yeah,
we
I thought. You mentioned you were also on the roof, so I thought that was interesting too because like I think most of it was from the backside, even if it wasn't you. But so you actually got to, was it the actual roof of the house or was it like a rebuilt roof somewhere else that's so much lower?
it was a rebuilt roof, but it wasn't too much, it wasn't like too much lower. Like it was
Mm,
it was still like pretty because the set that they had built, there were stairs going up to Destiny's room. And so there was still quite a bit of a height to it. But yeah, there was like this fake Destiny house that was in the soundstage, and then we shot the party scene and stuff was shot in like a real house in Oakville. Um, but yeah, the part where I'm like crawling on the roof and like looking over into the window, that is
right,
shot on the fake house.
got it.
Um, but then the pool scene happened in like someone's actual pool, like in at their house, which was shot the same day as the party scene.
So if what I remember from seeing on Instagram, I believe your stunt double, she was up on the actual roof of the actual house and falls into the pool. And then at some point we have you filming like in the pool floating.
Yeah. Yeah, they
Okay.
there was this like big platform that was the same height as the roof and Teresa went up there and did like these massive falls into the pool, which was like craziness. But then after that whole thing was shot, they were like, "All right, you're going swimming." And I they rigged up this like blood tube up all the way
Oh,
into my back, out to my hair, and then they were just like
oh,
pumping blood out, and it was, yeah, going, and I was just floating in the pool dead for a little bit. It was
oh,
pretty
that's
calming after that day of filming.
oh, I bet. But also, I'm just thinking about that. Like, I would have figured it was like visual effects to add the blood because, let's say like Morgan sneezes on a cut, and we're like,
Yeah.
well, okay, we got to clean the water up now, So
Yeah.
that's a bit of a gamble. But I don't work in the industry, so I have no idea. Maybe they have a way to kind of clean all that up. I don't
Well, it
know.
wasn't a whole lot of blood, so I think they could just kind of be like move it around in the
Wash it
water and it
away.
would kind of like, go away. Because the camera is pretty focused on just that one part of the pool. But yeah, the blood was real and it was being pumped into my
Okay.
head.
Now, what about the floating noodles, right? Like it took me so long to figure out that because like every time I saw the framing of it, and I'm just like, oh wow, that looks a little specific, but I hadn't clued in to the
Yeah.
tarot card, with all the like the swords, I think it was.
Yes.
But yeah, there's definitely a visual there that that I posted for the people listening at home that don't follow me on Instagram. There is that sequence where young Kelly's floating in the pool. All these noodles are surrounding her basically, and it is supposed to mirror the tarot card of like somebody being stabbed by like several swords, I believe.
Yes. Yeah, that I didn't get to see them filming that part because I had wrapped before that,
Okay.
but I did know that that was happening, and I thought that was a really cool thing too, especially with like the way that they phased in like the Calypso laugh and stuff like that with the tarot cards. It was just so cool, like the symbolism in there.
Yeah, yeah, really. It gave me chills when I saw it. I was just like, oh, holy cow, because it's the first episode. We don't know what we're getting with season two. Season one had come out, and then we started seeing stuff with like a Mr. Grimm sucking up souls. And so we're
Yeah.
like, wait, we're going supernatural now. So you don't really know what's happening. And so like I asked Hallie this question too. I don't know if you had the similar answer, but were you given like Kelly's motive to join in with Raven as to why they're showing up to Destiny's graduation party and going through with this prank?
Yeah, the thing that Michael gave us was that we had not been let into prom in that whole story, which I'm sure Hallie had told you that
Yeah.
that yeah, we were given that while we were sitting in the car, and that was pretty like heartbreaking to hear just because it was like, okay, this like solidifies what we'd been feeling about these characters, and yeah, we like Kelly, I found it really interesting because she doesn't really want to go through with this prank. Like she doesn't, but she loves Raven so much to where she's kind of like, I'll do it because I love you, and she's convinced by Raven to do it, which was what we shot in the like what the audition scene was a little bit different. But yeah, she Raven convinces her to do it, and her whole thing is that like, I love her and so I'll do it for you. But I think Raven wants to do it for Kelly too because she knows that it would make her feel better about the fact that they were both not let in. But
Right.
yeah, the connecting the prom to like I mean, I had not even known that I was gonna do another episode at that time, so hearing the prom thing was really special, but then seeing it connect to episode 11 was like really amazing.
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing. Heartbreaking for sure for why they even got like turned away from the prom. But like um Patty's Raven in the prom episode, she talks about how like, oh, Destiny told the principal that we were gonna do ecstasy. Well, I mean we were, but I'm just
Yeah.
like, well, I was just like, I don't know. I'm trying to I mean, and maybe this would be a question for I don't know who plays Destiny. I don't even believe I
Oh, that's
follow her on Instagram.
Amara. Yeah, she's
Amara.
amazing.
Okay. So that would maybe be a question for her. Well, I mean, but she wouldn't have even known that line. I don't think. I'm just trying to figure out like why do you think Destiny mentioned the drugs? It's just a way to get them. Okay, so it's more
I
of
think it's a
destiny.
I think it's a way to not be like outwardly homophobic, but
Right,
like,
right,
yeah, because like if they were just like, oh, they're gay, don't let them into prom,
right.
then I feel
Yeah,
like the principal's not going to be like, yeah, like,
right.
so
No,
I
you're absolutely right.
yeah, so I think that she had to come up with another thing that would get the principal like, oh no, like we can't do that. But I think like at the heart of it, it was because they were together.
Yeah. Have you been getting any sort of like messages from, the people in the LGBTQ community playing the character of Kelly?
I've definitely seen a lot of stuff on it, like people talking about how great it is that like Peacock is showing this, especially right now with like what's going on in the world and
Mhm.
what's happening for that like for our community. It's really scary, and seeing that on a TV show right now is I think so important. So and also it's been like Kelly and Raven's relationship has been kind of like people have thought that it was happening for quite some time, but them solidifying it and saying this is what they are um, was really special. And I think a lot of people saw that, and it means a lot.
Yeah, when season one came out and everyone noticed like Kelly's name in the bar,
Yeah.
with the New San Francisco, people were excited. Yeah, I didn't hear anybody up in arms talking about like, oh, they're doing that storyline or anything like that. I think people were very welcoming and was just like, oh, holy shit, they're going deep into the lore of Twisted Metal. And yeah, so that's really cool. And like for years when I would talk about a character, that has like a different sexual orientation or whatever, it used to be like, oh, well, that's what America looks like. We're all different types of people, but like, like I'm not even thinking, well, yeah, outside of the US too,
Yeah.
and so yeah, it's it's just representation at the heart of it. That's kind of where I'm getting at to like all of this. But it's just like everybody wants to be represented and to kind of see, someone like you is always cool, and it gives you another person to connect with.
Yeah.
Like you're familiar with the Breakfast Club?
Yes.
People
Love it.
love it, right? Yeah, it's fine. I got onto it very late in life, and I watched it. I'm like, well, this is good. I was like, but like, there's nobody here that. Never mind the entire Caucasian cast, but I'm just
Yeah.
like, none of those personalities I connect with, and so, we were definitely kind of like heading in the right direction. I feel like in the mid 90s, with representation. I just remember the 80s, like the Asians were all just like wearing glasses and they're all foreign exchange students,
Yeah.
it's just like
Very stereotype.
very,
Yeah.
yeah.
We're kind of
So,
going away from that now, which has been really great. And also with like accessible sets and stuff like that. I mean, I meet all kinds of people, all kinds of actors, and hearing how accommodating sets are now, some of the sets that they've worked on is like really important. And I think it's such a good step in the right direction.
oh, absolutely. And it starts at the top, and so like I've been following MJ for several years now, and I know he's a great guy. He's the sole reason I started covering Twisted Metal. And I knew that it would be a gamble. Like it could have been something where I'm like, yeah, don't really love this, but I love the characters, and season two is like kicking ass, so um now, when did you find out that young Kelly was returning?
I I it's so funny because that entire like day is so like vivid in my mind because of that. Like I just remember I was shooting alone that day with my stunt double, and that was the day that I was filming the like roof scene, and there was another scene which didn't make it in, but that was shot then too. And I had wrapped, but they were still filming stuff for Teresa, my double. And Michael and Phil, the director, came up to me and were like, that was great. We're so excited to tell you that you're going to be on episode 11, you're recurring. And I was like, what are you doing? I like had no idea. So it was really just like a crazy moment. And I was so excited to get to have more time with Kelly.
You mentioned a deleted scene, so there was another something else you filmed at the pool.
It wasn't in the pool, but it was in Destiny's house.
Oh, what was it, if you don't mind sharing?
Um, it was just me defacing the room.
So
I know that
receipts.
yeah, I know that episode one was like it was the longest episode of the season, so I'm sure it's like there was some stuff with just like timing and whatnot, but yeah, it was that was a cool one too. Me going in with some gloves and stuff and getting ready, so yeah.
Oh, for episode 11.
Uh for episode one, the scene that got
Oh,
deleted,
okay.
yeah,
So,
was like me going into the room. Yeah.
oh, I see. So Kelly was playing with some of Destiny stuff, like kind of trying things on.
No, she walked into the room with like the
Uh,
paint and stuff like that. Yeah, she had this bag of like
oh,
the paint and the voodoo doll and all that stuff. So she goes in and is like, okay, I'm ready to deface the room, but didn't end up like using that. But yeah,
got
so
it.
just
Okay, so that's interesting. So it's that thing where there is like production value, right? So you just film like a bunch of different things, and though that was cut, I mean, we're left to our imaginations, right? That she did all of that stuff, but that's kind of neat still that was filmed, and so perhaps if we ever get physical copies, maybe that's something that ends up on the deleted scenes, like just that little bit extended, extended moment with
extended
Kelly
cut.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, extended cut. So. Do you remember anything else from the party stuff before we move on to episode 11 that you could think of that may have gotten cut or shortened?
Um, I don't think there was any. I mean, there was like the throwing up part, which was so fun to film.
Oh,
Where one of the boys that Destiny had banged in the garage threw up, which was pretty funny to like film and stuff. And there was another part where like I mean it was shown, but the cocaine use at the party, I had no idea that that like was there, and then the rest of the cast had wrapped and gone home. And I was sitting around like that couch area with the makeup artist and stuff while Teresa was doing the stunts, and I was like, is that cocaine on this? Like it was just there. And I was like, okay, sure, this party's bumping, it's fine.
that's hilarious. You're like, I'm sorry, did somebody leave the?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I'm
forgot
like,
to,
is this a
and we're
prop? I didn't
filming, we're
know this was
filming
happening.
here.
Yeah.
Um, was there anything in the house that made you go, "Oh wow, this is so 90s"? Because I am curious, as somebody that was, I'm assuming you were born in like the early aughts, but if you can tell the kind of, yeah, if they dress it in any certain way to make it look older.
I think the house itself was pretty like dated to that time anyway, but
Hmm.
the biggest thing that made it like feel like a different era was just like the hair, the makeup, the wardrobe for everyone. I mean, background even like everyone was just dressed. It was so cool. And I remember the one of the guys that plays like another guy that Destiny hooks up with, he had the coolest like jeans and shoes and everything, and I was just like, this is the coolest thing ever. Like we're all wearing the coolest outfits ever. And that made it a really cool atmosphere. But yeah, there was like kegs and stuff around. It was a fun party. Yeah.
You're taking me back a little bit. The guy you were talking about, his wardrobe, was his like, did he have the baggy pants too? I'm kind of
Yes.
curious because okay,
Yeah.
he had the baggy. That's, I mean, that's my era. Like I graduated in 2001, so
Yeah.
yeah, I was definitely hitting up those similar type of house parties. So it did take me back a little bit. Um, so you show up for episode 11. If you can talk about that, you're wearing the same outfit that we Raven last saw her in as well. But yeah, if you just talk about that experience.
Yeah, so when I got back, I there was a couple things I had to do like wardrobe fittings and just to make sure that everything was still good. But when I first got there, the only cars that were around like in episode 1 were the doll cars. And so going back and seeing like I didn't know what the rest of the episodes looked like because we only get the
Right.
scripts for the stuff that we're in. And so I saw like this giant roach and I was like, "What?" I was like, "What is that?" And I kind of can't see well, so I was like, "Is that a massive roach on a car?" And walked closer and it was the roach coach. But yeah, so going on to the set after like basically the entire season had happened and seeing like what had happened, but not necessarily like the script and anything like was pretty fun. But yeah, so we got everything ready and did some makeup and stuff and like just made sure that everything was set to go. And then I got there and we shot. I think I was there for a few days because we weren't sure when we were gonna film it. I think the last few episodes were pretty like busy in terms of like what to shoot and stuff. So yeah, we I got ready for a couple days and just went around and stuff. Met a lot of the series regulars, which was really cool. They were all so sweet. And then yeah, we just got driven to the big tournament area, and I had no idea if that was like if the massive tournament like uh what do you
Included
call it?
there or
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was like where everything was,
Mhm.
or come to find out that it was just the last rounds that were there. But yeah, it was really crazy just to see like how much everything had changed and how big everything was and seeing like the banners with people's faces on them. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah,
But
the faces on the banners, that's not a detail I picked up. I've only seen the episode once at this point. Um, but I didn't pick up on that detail until I think it was Patty that was posted some behind the scene pictures, and her and Stephanie were standing kind of near their banners. So I'm like, oh well, that's neat. Yeah, but
yeah.
that all makes sense now with the whole like kind of Truman Show reveal a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, it was like crazy, and it's just like the size of just like the set and everything, and it was so cool to film. It was so different from what I the way that episode one was shot and like the kind of scenes that I was in then, and just like seeing the stunt driving. I mean, we had stunt driving happening like around us while we like Patty and I were shooting that
Right.
scene, so that was very different because I didn't realize how loud those cars really were until they were going, and it was Anthony Mackie's car that was driving around us, and so it was like crazy, like just having that whole atmosphere and having stuff on fire. The car was on fire. It was crazy.
Yeah, yeah, and you had two road kills out there too. So like,
Yes.
cause Stephanie was, well, her Quiet is driving the other one, and John, yeah. So you got two of those. I guess I didn't really think about it, but I've gone to like the monster jams with monster trucks and stuff like that, and so like you're a little surprised how loud those are. But yeah, to have several vehicles, maybe even like a little ice cream truck also, maybe that was
Yeah, it
loud
was
too. I
there.
don't know.
Yeah. It was there. It was outside. They were kind of just like all in like a parking lot together, which I thought was kind of funny. So yeah, there's the Sweet Tooth's car going and stuff, and yeah, I think one of the things that like made this sound really stand out is the fact that like when we shoot normally, it's like completely quiet, like nobody
Mm.
makes any noise, and then having like, oh, I'm acting now, and there's like sound, and that was so different because I guess I had gotten used to it being like pin drop silence when we're
Yeah.
doing stuff. So but yeah, it was so cool seeing the final product, and everything was just like insane.
Yeah. So you have the one scene with Patty who plays Raven. She's crawling out of her vehicle, and you're kind of distorted a little bit, a little blurry, and then come to focus, and it's young Kelly. If you can think of like, was there many takes? Did you get a chance to meet Patty before you guys filmed that?
Yes, I met Patty when I was in the makeup trailer that day.
Mm.
Um and she had just came in and said hi and stuff, and we met, and she's lovely. And then we saw each other again whenever we went like and shot and stuff like that. There was quite a few different ways and like angles of stuff and of shooting because there's a lot of moving parts of that scene. Like, there was shooting with a crane and stuff, and and another part where it's like in and out of focus and it's kind of like from below me. That was shot with me on like a box,
Hmm.
like a really tall like platform, and then the camera was kind of under me like as Raven's point of view. So
Right.
yeah, so there was a bunch of different like ways that we shot that, and the yeah, I guess there were quite a few different takes and stuff like that because just like with the fire and everything and the cars, the moving parts of it all, there was a lot happening, but it was a pretty like chill scene to do. So it was just awesome. It was such a cool day.
Yeah. And now looking back, are you all caught up on all the Twisted Metal episodes?
Yes, yes, I
Yeah.
am.
So like you as let's call it a fan, like watching back on these episodes, what were some moments from season two that got like a really that got reactions out of you, good, bad, sad? I kind of want to know what are some of Morgan's favorite moments from Twisted Metal.
Um, I think just the writing this season is so funny. Like truly, I had so much fun reading through the scripts and stuff, just like period. But and the delivery of the actors and stuff like that. It's just I was laughing all the time. The entire like all episodes. The most recent thing that I'd watched is like obviously the new like episodes and stuff, and I remember one of Raven's lines that I had read in the script whenever we were like filming, but was like I had this all set up and you threw it away for the nookie, and I was like that's insane, like that's something crazy. But yeah, there's so many like funny things in there that were just great to watch. It's really
And
great.
do you get that Nookie reference at all?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, all right. I had to ask, because of the age difference and all that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so someone like, yeah, okay, all right. That's awesome that you I catch the reference as well. That it doesn't have to explain. So that just kind of like, oh, that's the thing in pop culture, and so if you're kind of in tune, you kind of get it. Um, the prom scene episode is that aside from like some of the like the Dave and Stu that stuff aside, how did that compare to like if you went to prom, like is this was this kind of a heightened thing, do you think, because of the characters, or did you think they captured like kind of a realistic prom in your opinion?
I think they captured it like pretty like well in terms of like realisticness. My prom like personally was very weird because it was right after COVID.
All right.
So it was like student run and kind of like but that kind of reminds me of like semi-formal dances and stuff like that, like those small kind of like stuff. But yeah, watching the prom episode was like pretty emotional, just seeing like Raven have her prom and stuff, and seeing just like through the season how much Kelly is mentioned with Raven and how much like how it's a driving force in what she's doing like for in its entirety. Like yeah, it was pretty emotional seeing her at prom without me.
Yeah,
Fine.
yes, absolutely. And then she has like the moment where she's, speaking to Kelly that, they're gonna have their dance soon.
Yeah.
I thought it was actually pretty funny to see the paper bag version of Raven like
Yes.
in the punch bowl.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
So that was pretty funny. Um, as we get ready to wrap up, I am curious, like, the times that you have spent on set with Twisted Metal. You mentioned the funny writing, and you have history in writing. You published several novels for your parents. It sounds like,
Yeah.
and you do the makeup. You've experienced hair and makeup, obviously. Is there something else I don't know if you were inspired from your experience, but is there anything else other than acting that you might pursue?
Um, I I think it's always been acting for me. I would love in terms of like kinds of roles that I would like to pursue, I'd love to go more in that direction of what I've done for Twisted Metal. Like I just love the comedy in this show and it's the writing is just phenomenal. So I definitely love that kind of world and I'd like to push more into there, but also like just incorporating my like hobbies and stuff, things I love, like dance and singing and that kind of stuff, into a role would be really amazing. So hopefully in the future that's a thing.